Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is Chase. I'm here with Ashley, my partner. This is after the 3 count. This is going to be part 2. We're going to pick back up. We were about to get into some tattoos. We had a fan's question. So, Ashley, let's just jump right into it.
Oh, yeah. We're going to jump right into the tattoos. And again, I don't know how we haven't talked about this before because you got plenty, I got plenty.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty well talked about problem, air quotes. It's a really pretty talked about problem in wrestling. And I actually have a perspective that I think a lot of people aren't going to expect that I have because I have tattoos. But first off, how many tattoos do you have?
I mean, I have this half sleeve here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I only have 5.
Okay.
I want to. I know, dude. I'm gonna finish this one off. This is gonna be next. So every year for my birthday, that's always the gift to myself. I'll go get a big piece. So this was this last August. I did this one. What we're gonna do to finish it off is so this is a moon right here. He's gonna drop some red behind the moon, and it's gonna be more of like an outer space back behind it, and then he'll use the smoke from this and all this to tie all of it together. So then this sleeve will be done.
That'd be cool.
And then on this side, I wanted to do almost a little bit more of like an American traditional type style.
Yeah.
Because who says you can't have more than one type of tattoo? So
yeah, that's true. For a while, I thought it would look weird, but nah, tattoo's a tattoo. If you want it, go get it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I like the traditional style.
Thank you.
That's very nice. Do you ever use gosh, what's it called? Mad Rabbit?
No, what is that?
So it's just tattoo aftercare.
Okay.
There's a recovery gel. Swear to God, use it. Buy it. It's not expensive, but you damn near won't peel.
Okay.
Like, it's so good. It takes off that itch. It's nice and hydrated.
So I've always used Sanoderm. Have you ever used that? It's a film that they'll use in like EMTs for burn victims. But you put it on the tattoo, right? You know, when you're done, clean it off, whatever. Put that Sanoderm on there, and it's just a thin film, and you leave that on there for as long as you can. I usually leave mine on for about a week if I can, and then by the time you peel that off, the tattoo is like 90% healed. So there is no like itching, scabbing. Like you don't have to worry about bumping into something while it's still fresh. And so my tattoo artist turned me on to that because he uses it with all his clients. And now, like, even if I do go get a tattoo from someone else, I take my own Sanoderm afterwards.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't have it really. And because when I first started getting tattoos, I got my first tattoo at 16. I just Aquaphor. That's what you used back in the day. You used Aquaphor. So I use that for a lot of mine. I got a Sanoderm for one on my hand.
Okay.
It ended up busting because it's right on the knuckles.
And that's what I was going to say. It's going
to
move.
It was gross. It's just like, I'm using glue.
And mine, dude, like, I mean, from working out and everything, like, it would just start to kind of stink.
Yeah. So look up the Mad Rabbit, their little recovery gel. And they also have balm. Yeah, they also have balm that really just brings out the color of the tattoos as well. I really like it. You just use it like daily lotion.
Mad Rabbit.
And I noticed that all your tattoos got like the skulls on it, which I'm a sucker for skulls. I see you got the triqueta right there.
Yeah, so I wanted to get this. My cousin and I were supposed to get it together. He unfortunately passed away when we were both 19. He died of a heroin overdose. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get it anyways. And so the Celtic knot, it stands for brotherhood. And me, him, and then I have another cousin, Connor. He's only 3 months younger than me, and so it was me, Connor, and Trey. Yeah, exactly. So when Trey died, I went ahead and went through with getting it, and I'm pretty sure Connor's still going to go ahead and get it too. Yeah.
Just so cute. I like it when tattoos have meanings. Not all tattoos have to have meanings. If you want,
literally, this is the only one, dude. This is the only one that has meaning. Everything else, and they'll always ask, like, "What does it mean?" Like, I don't know, dude. Like, it looks cool.
Why'd you get that? Because I had money.
And like, this is kind of like a little bit of like a Guns N' Roses type.
It does,
type theme. Like,
yeah.
you kind of have Slash, and then
exactly. That's exactly what I was
skull. Thinking. Yep. And honestly, I mean, I just thought that one looked most similar like me. So.
I got me tattooed on myself.
Yeah, 20-year-old me thought that would be a great idea to put a picture that looks similar to me in the middle of a cross. So, but I still like it. I think it's cool.
What was your first one?
This one right here.
Okay.
In my forearm. And I'll never forget, dude, when I came home. Actually, I went with a friend of mine. She was going to go get a tattoo, and she's like, you just want to come with me? And I was like, yeah, of course. I've never been to a tattoo shop. And so I went with her, and I had showed her this idea that I was wanting to do, and I'd kind of sketched something up. And she was like, oh, that's really cool. You should show Bryce when we get there, a tattoo artist. And I showed him, and he was like, dude, it's not going to take me very long to do hers. When she's done, do you want to do it?
Oh.
And I was like,
ooh, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And so I came home, and I still lived at home at the time. And I remember I showed my mom, and she was just kind of in shock. She was like, I didn't expect it to be that big. And I was like, yeah,
you never do.
Yeah, I was like, because at first I was going to do it smaller. And he was like, dude, you're a big dude with a big forearm. He was like, let's go big with it. And I was like,
I feel like that's just the cop-out that they do because fine line is a bitch.
Yeah, but also he did make a point, too. He was like, because I was wrestling at that time, and he was like, do you want the audience to be able to tell what your tattoos are from the crowd, or do you just want to see these like little smudges all over your arm? And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. And like he's the same one who did this one, and is the exact same thing. When I scaled this one, like it was maybe, like gonna be from here to here.
Yeah.
Maybe, or probably even smaller than that. And he was like, no, dude, like we're going big. And so I showed my mom, and she was shocked, kind of caught off guard, and I showed my dad, and he just looks me dead in the eye, and he's like, it's fake. And I was like, Dad, no, it's not. And he was like, they don't do the color all in one day. It's fake. And I was like, Dad, it's not fake. And he was like, huh. And that's all he said, huh. And just walked off. And now,
I love that.
And now, dude, they think it's cool. Like my mom's like, you got to stop getting so many skulls. But but I mean, they love it. They think it's cool. And my dad, like, he'll show his buddies like pictures of my tattoos and
That's
stuff.
Beautiful.
So yeah, super supportive now. But they were definitely caught off guard when I came home with it.
I feel like that's every parent, honestly. Like I said, I got my first one illegally, or I got my first two technically illegally. The first one I got is one that I drew. Well, first off, let me count the ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I have 17.
Nice.
I didn't realize I had 17. Technically only 16, and I'll explain why in a second.
Okay.
But the first one I got, it's a little tribal wolf, and I got that for Destiny because she's Native American. So I drew it. It's on my hip. I forget I have it all the time. I really do. And then second one I got was some words on my ribs here. This one was kind of poorly done. Yeah. And then the third one, it was a cover-up over this one. This one's massive.
Okay.
I got that from my grandfather. There's an anchor with lilies and his name.
That's awesome.
And then the rest just kind of came as it did. I've always loved Egyptology, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this whole arm Egyptian. Started with the cats, and it just progressed from there. And then I finally got my first non-Egyptian one, which is the Ace of Cups in tarot. Because when I first started doing tarot and practicing, I swear this card come out every single time, every time. And it to me it means blessings and new relationships to come, and like having your heart open for these opportunities. And I'm like, all right, cool. And so I got that tattooed, and then I went back to the same lady, and she gave me the Aqua Tofana, and then I got this one on a whim, which is just the 4 elements on my thumb. But yeah, I have a lot of tattoos.
Were you nervous about going on your hands? Because, I mean, I feel like tattoos are so acceptable in today's society now, but there are certain places where tattoos, like when you see someone with either neck or sometimes with hands, like I've had 2 different artists in Bobby Z, the guy who did this one, and then he did the inside of my bicep. He's an amazing artist. He's out of Fort Worth. And how I even got linked up with him is he ran a wrestling show.
Okay.
And so we basically bartered. I wrestled for him, and then he would tattoo me.
Okay.
And and he's had some really, really cool ideas, and he's done a lot of work with bands. He's designed their merch. Like he's worked with the Scorpions. He's worked with Zach Wilde. Like all, you know, a lot.
Okay, so he knows what he's doing.
Yep, exactly. But he told me that, like, you know, he would go into these businesses or, you know, into these big marketing meetings and how some of the executives would look at him sideways for having tattoos on his neck, tattoos on his hand. And he told me, he was like, you'll have to go find another artist because I won't touch your hands until, he was like, the day you put pen to paper on a big contract, he's like, I will put whatever the hell you want on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, but as your friend, I'm telling you, he was like, don't go on your hands. Like, have you had any kind of, like, I don't know, I guess run-ins with that? Or
This is the one that I get the most compliments on.
Really? Okay.
People love this scarab beetle.
And that is pretty damn cool.
Right? And surprisingly, with how good it looks, I still got to go in and I got to touch it up a bit.
I just imagine your hands moving so much.
Right?
It's just a hard spot for it to heal, especially on your knuckles.
It was. It was because I had that, what was it?
Saniderm.
I had that on in it, and I was just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But, no, so whenever I got this snake that's on my wrist, part of it's on my hand, and I was like, that's when I got the itch. I'm like, I want it on my hand now. So then I got that, and I've always liked the idea of finger tattoos. And so I'm probably not going to get finger tattoos, but I do like the idea of finger tattoos. But no, I didn't. Honestly, I don't regret any of the tattoos that I've ever got. Well, that's a damn lie, and I'll tell you why.
Maybe your 16-year-old one?
Because this is a cover-up. This is a cover-up. Yeah, okay.
Did you go to the same guy who did the... Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, not your cover-up. The guy who did the wolf. Was it the same guy?
Yeah,
okay.
It was the same guy that did the wolf that did the lettering. And so it's like, why did it look so bad?
Didn't quite translate.
And so I got the cover-up. But funny enough, I'm actually getting this one removed.
Wow, okay.
Not because I hate it or anything. It's just, honestly, people always say you can't erase it when you put it in your body. Yeah, I can. I just got to tolerate it and fork over the money. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Because it's just not my vibe anymore. And honestly, I've just always liked the idea of the tattoos being on the upper part of the bodies. Like, I'm never going to get it on my stomach. I'm never going to get it on my legs. None of that.
Leg tats just don't do it for me.
I
don't know why. And like, dude, some people look sick with them. They really do.
Destiny, she is covered head to toe, tattooed, not on her neck, but from here down, covered. Yeah, and it's amazing.
But I guess I just don't really have anything. Like I'll see women with like the thigh piece, and like, dude, some of those
like
are
Rhea Ripley.
Sick. Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep. Yeah. But we'll reel it back in.
Mommy.
But like, I'm not gonna rock a thigh piece, you know. Like, and I've seen, you know, a couple of my buddies have really cool like knee cover tats.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It just doesn't really quite fit.
I can't do it. I want to make it look like, oh, she looks like a proper little lady. Oh my god. But I'm getting this removed. I actually had my third session yesterday, and holy cheese and rice, it hurts so bad.
I've heard it's like 100 times worse than the actual, because I mean they burn it off. Am I wrong?
It's a laser.
Yeah,
it's a laser. Now I will say, so the place I'm going to, it's Removery over here in Mesquite, off of like over by like Townie Small and like kind of that across the street from Townie Small. Anyway, so I'm going there, and the reason I went there is because they were honest about the pain. They're the only ones honest about the pain. I'm like, I like you.
Yeah, dude, this sucks.
Exactly. And so got approved to do it because they run your credit to make sure you can pay for it. Obviously, I know
it's expensive to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about $3,000.
Wow, is that like per session or
no?
Okay. Oh,
I got an unlimited package. Okay. So however, it could literally take like 10 sessions to get something completely removed. I don't think it's gonna take me that long because this is just my third one.
How big is it?
It's massive.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so a lot of it, there are some parts of it that it's already gone, and it's also hella faded now. Yeah. And she was telling me yesterday, she's like, you've only had 2 sessions. This is amazing, because they say if you keep it hydrated, if you massage it, if you work out, drink a lot of water, because what happens at the laser basically shoves the ink further into your body, and your body flushes it out.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, bro, you don't know how much I work out. Yeah. You don't know how much I drink water. I got this. And so, like, tried and true, it's fading a lot faster. So I'm probably not going to take 10 sessions. But this yesterday was
brutal.
Like, the first session, obviously, never had it before. So I
don't even know what to expect. Yeah.
Every, like, 5 or 7 ticks of the laser, I was like, stop.
Stop.
And so just give me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time, I started using tattoo numbing cream.
Oh, before okay.
And so I did that. So much more tolerable.
Yeah.
It was oof. But I did that again yesterday, and for some reason,
it just didn't.
There were only parts of it. It was like my grandfather's name on the bottom. It's like really blown out black, and that's the part that hurt the most. Is like the black parts, because like, the color's damn near almost gone already, and so obviously the black pigment, the darker pigment on your lighter skin, it's gonna suck a lot more.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because I never knew how that worked. Because I always assumed that it was almost like a burn. And they would basically, like with that laser, they would burn it off and your skin, regenerate. But my uncle, love him to death, but he had his now ex-wife, their anniversary date on his wrist.
Never get names on your body unless it's family members.
And so he went, a few times to get it removed. And he was like, it's too expensive. Dude, he bought a removal gun. And would just be sitting at home, just doing it himself. He got it off.
Oh no,
got it off.
That's so dangerous.
Oh,
though.
So dangerous. But if you knew him, it would be. It's on par. Love you, Devin.
I could never.
Yeah. Nope. But just sat there and did it himself.
Like I do not. I already got enough things wrong with my body. I don't need to add that.
Yeah. No.
But I'm going through that process right now. Because one thing that they'll do is that they'll be like, okay, are you doing it to a point to get a cover up? I'm like, no, I want it completely gone. I want this bare.
Okay.
I just think that'll look better.
Yeah.
And so to tie that in with wrestling, people always talk about, don't get tattoos. Don't get tattoos as a wrestler. You need to be a blank canvas.
And that's what I was always told. Yeah.
You do. You really do. Especially back in the day. No one had tattoos. Like, And nowadays, they don't want you to have tattoos in case they need to use you for different things, because it's a very identifying marker. If I go out in a ski mask, people are going to know that's Evelyn.
Yeah.
They should get the tattoos. That's her. It also covers up your definition. Like this arm, you can see my definition very clearly. This one, not so much because of all the tattoos. This one's not bigger than this one, but And so I understand why the wrestling industry doesn't want you to get tattoos. Obviously, today, like AEW don't care.
Yeah.
TNA, I don't know. TNA might care. I don't know. But like a lot of big promotions, they don't give a damn anymore. But I will say, for anyone listening, don't get tattoos. Just don't do it unless you can cover it up. Because the whole point of being in this industry is you want to stand out. When's the last time you saw a wrestler that didn't have tattoos?
Exactly. And I mean, it seems like everybody does now, right?
Like that's another reason why Ryan stands out so much. He ain't got no tattoos.
Yeah.
He got virgin skin. And it's very unheard of at this time.
And especially people, around our age. Like, it's hard for me to think of any of my friends, male, female, around my age that don't at least have one.
Right.
Like everybody has tattoos now. So like you said, I feel like back in the day you could get a tattoo to stand out more. Well, now you stand out for not having tattoos.
Right. It's the new norm. And that's kind of cool. Ryan's mom for Christmas, she got me a history of tattoos on women. And I read it every now and then, and I like the history. I'm a history nerd.
Yeah.
Sorry. And so history of tattoos and women, fuck yeah. And so it's cool seeing as, back then you were a freak if you had tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like you're the freak if you don't have tattoos, like you just said. But yeah, don't get tattoos. Just don't do it. Just hide it.
Do you have one or like any like particular spot that was rough for you getting it done? I imagine your chest, dude. That couldn't have felt good.
That was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The one on my forearm actually almost made me pass out.
Really?
But I think because the dude was just so heavy-handed.
And
he was heavy.
Dude. Yeah, I hate that, man. Like he did great on this one, but like if you look real close, like I'm scarred on a few parts. Like
yeah, and you can't be heavy. Being heavy-handed doesn't mean it lasts longer. It leaves scarring because like I can run my hand over and I can kind of still feel some raised bumps, and I'm just like, man. Whereas this one, it's freaking massive. You can't feel any of that.
Smooth.
It's so smooth.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm gonna get a few more tattoos. I'm gonna get the paw print of my cat Carrie. she's not going to die anytime soon, but she's 15 years old. She's almost there. And so I'm going to get her paw print here.
Oh, that's
then
gonna
I'm
be
going to
cute.
get Ava's paw print, my dog, on the back here.
That's gonna be tender.
And then, I don't know. And then I'm going to get like Hades right here or something.
Okay.
Honestly, Ava, I don't know how. I don't know. I ain't got no more room. And I can't put it there because I always get skinned there from wrestling.
Yep.
So, like, there? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out, Ava. I swear. But I'm just gonna get. I figure I kind of want to do that now. It's like any animal I get, I want to get their paw print. And it's not like, yeah, I have 3 animals, but I'm not gonna have any more, and that's like an easy 10 more years with all of them.
Yeah.
Except Carrie. I'm sorry, Carrie. You old. You an old lady.
Little old Carrie.
I had to take her to the vet. Last week because apparently, so when I didn't know this, apparently when cats get older, their claws grow faster. In the entirety of the 13 years I've had this cat, I never once trimmed her nails. Didn't have to. And so her nail apparently grew enough to where it got jammed in her pad.
Oh, no.
And it just got stuck there.
Oh, poor baby.
And it's been like that for a damn month. And I did not realize it until I just happened to look at her paw one night when she jumped up on the bed. I'm like, why does that look weird? Because for a while she was starting to stink. And that's what made me think she was dying soon, is because when animals get closer to death, they start to give off this smell. I have a very sensitive nose. And so I'm just like, is this death? This is death smell.
Yeah.
It wasn't death smell. It was her paw. Because it was a gaping,
just an open wound. Yeah.
It was an open wound with the claw still in it. And I'm like, I almost started crying. It was like 2 a.m. and
baby.
Ryan's next to me and he's like, "What? It's okay. You figured it out now. You'll just take it." I'm like,
we gotta go now.
We gotta go now. And like I felt so bad because I'm like, so sorry, Carrie. I'm a terrible mother. So I took her to the vet the very next day. They got her in at like 4:00. Oh my God, never again. Again, she's healthy as a horse. I barely take her to the vet. They didn't realize she was 15 because she's in such good health. So, quick as a flash, boom, ripped it out. And I'm just like, I'm glad y'all doing that, not me.
Yeah.
My cat does not like anyone except me, but I'm not old enough for that now. And so they had her wrapped up in towels, and the most terrible sound I've ever heard her make.
Scream.
She screamed real bad, but then she screamed louder. All they did was trim the rest of hers. All they did was trim them.
It's just all dramatic
screamed
now.
Bloody murder. And I understand. She's probably thinking, shit, they're going to rip out this other claw. Like, no, honey, they just did that one. I haven't looked at it yet to see if they actually ripped it out completely or if all they did was rip off the sheath. Because that's what claws do. They kind of shed off. And so I don't know if that's what they did, but like it was a big old chunk of claw.
Yeah.
And being the weirdo that I am, whenever they left the room or whatever, I was collecting her claws. I was like, give me that. Put them in my little jar at home. I got Hades and Carrie's cat claws and cat whiskers for things that I do.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And so it's for practical reasons. And so, yeah, took her home, and it's crazy seeing how much better she is now. Because again, I didn't even notice it because she was fine. If anything, I'm like, why are you being a little crankier? But no, she's like running around and she's loving on me more, and like feel so much better. And I swear to God, I'm never doing that to you again. Yeah. And because she had such a visceral reaction, they gave me gabapentin. I think that's what it's called. Gonna knock her out. If
kind of like a doggy or like a cat Xanax almost.
It's a cat Xanax. Yes, it is a sedative.
We have those for our dog Guts. Like especially around like 4th of July fireworks. Dude.
Yeah, because that makes a lot of dogs
He just
upset.
loses his mind, man, and like he'll just pace the entire night. Like he'll just walk around, pace. He won't calm down. We give him one of those doggy Xanax. He couldn't. Out. He doesn't care if there's fireworks going off literally right next to him. He wouldn't give a damn.
Yeah. So I got the kitty Xanax for her, and the only reason they gave that to me was so I could trim her nails at home. Yeah. And again, she didn't attack them. She was hissing, obviously, and spitting. But she's not going to attack me. She'll probably hiss at me a little bit. But anything to make it less of traumatic on her, I'm down. Yeah. I might even give a little bit to Hades because he's a little drama queen whenever I clip his too. I wrap him up, pop out one paw at a time, clipping. He's like, and then I have Ryan like shove a yogurt in his face, and he's just like, fine. I'm just like, you're such a little bitch.
I had a Chihuahua growing up, Clyde, and he was a he was overweight. There's no other way to put it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was, I don't know, he was 20 pounds, and he was supposed to be full-blooded Chihuahua. We had his dad, and we mated his dad with one of our neighbor dogs.
They're never full-blooded.
Dude, I think Clyde's mama was a little bit of a hoe, because I don't think Clyde was full-blown Chihuahua. He was mixed with something, but dude, he was the biggest crybaby when it came to cutting his nails. And I mean, he would like try to snap at you. And so we took him to the vet just for a checkup, and we asked if they could, check his nails while we're there. So we're in the waiting room, dude. And we hear him just, "Arr, arr, arr." And this little old lady sitting next to us, and she goes, "Oh, that poor doggy back there. I wonder what they're doing to him."
They're trimming his nails.
It's like, no, he's trying to trim his nails. Well, dude, they bring him back out to us. Half his nails are trimmed.
They didn't finish
and they go,
it?
"We're afraid he's starting to hyperventilate. We're afraid that
Oh,
we're afraid he's gonna have a heart attack if we finish."
No.
So he worked himself up so much that he almost hyperventilated in the vet's office. So we had to take him home. I mean, of course, as soon as we get home, he's perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah.
But yep, just
Absolutely.
the biggest crybaby in the entire world, dude.
Good Lord. Ava, I don't think she cries whenever she gets her claws or her nails trimmed, because when I take her to get groomed every now and then, they'll trim them or whatever. But she's part husky, so she screams when they're bathing her. And so I think the
huskies are so cute.
The nails
dude.
are the least of her worries. She's like, "I'm dying in this water," and then she's totally fucking fine.
Yeah, totally fine, dude.
And smelling and looking gorgeous and silky.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we split this up into two because we got this awesome question or topic of conversation from Joel Harvey 262 from Instagram, and it was to talk about the problems of modern wrestling and how we can fix it. I wrote down, look at this, I wrote down everything that I think is wrong with wrestling.
I love it. Okay.
Not really. It's just, it expands a lot because there are so many different ways this can go.
Yeah.
Because it's a heavily opinionated topic, not so much objective, because you can't have an objective response in this because everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
There's no cookie cutter. There is no golden ticket way. Tried and true. Here you go. This is going to give you a 10 out of 10, a 10-star match every damn time.
Yeah.
And so, that being said, even though it's opinion, I have no problem sharing my opinion. Again, don't come at me. I've been doing this for only 6 years. I understand I might not be as well-versed as some other vets. But, I like to think that I offer a nice perspective. And I know you do too. So my biggest thing with wrestling these days is that it's too heavily scripted.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, there's a difference between having talking points versus having an entire script to follow.
Yeah.
And that was something that guest that at my training school on Monday, that was something he talked about too, because he's a writer. And so, unfortunately, a lot of wrestlers these days have trouble making the connection between their character and a script because they're afraid to just really get into that. That's where the acting comes in. That's when you really have to get into your character. You really have to get into Bam Bam, and you have to think, what will Bam say?
Yeah.
Too many wrestlers overthink it because it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I get it. It's nerve-wracking to get on a mic. I hate it. I'm good at it, but I hate it.
Yeah.
And so you have to really get in there, in that headspace, and think, what would my character say? And it's nerve-wracking, so they don't, because they have to think, okay, I got to hit this point, I got to hit this point. And it goes back to the bullet points. Yes, hit your bullet points.
Yeah.
Don't make it all about your bullet points. Don't think about every single word you're going to say, because you're going to fuck up. And then the minute you forget, you're going to freeze.
Yep.
And then it's over.
Yep.
And so now when I see promos, they're just kind of overproduced.
Yeah.
They're overproduced a little bit. Now, it depends on where you go. Obviously, the higher places like AEW, WWE, NXT, obviously it's a lot different. But you can tell the difference between someone who's speaking in their character and highlighting points versus someone who's just saying a script. You can tell the difference. Case in point, I'm going to die on this rock. Tony, AEW, Timeless Tony Storm. My God, I want to know who her writer is because I love all that gay energy. It's so intense. And I'm just like, this is beautiful. This is, I love this so much because she's talking in that transatlantic accent.
Yeah.
And back in the day, they never said stuff like this. And so you're hearing this come out of her mouth. And it's just like, I love you. It's beautiful. She is the perfect embodiment of having your character highlight those points and just
and it has
off.
To be something that she can relate to, right? You know, I mean, the best characters in wrestling are yourself turned up to 11, right? You know, so that's Bam Bam Malone. You know, it's just Chase just turned up to 12 when we get out there. And you know, that's what Stone Cold Steve Austin was. That's what The Rock was. You know, all these guys, you know, the biggest characters that, you know, Hulk Hogan, all those guys, you know, they're just themselves turned up to 12. So it has to be something because, dude, she's awesome. And, like, she's always been amazing. Tony's always been incredible. But character-wise, it has to be something that she can relate to for her to really buy into it that much, you know?
Exactly. And another thing that contributes to that is that when you really think about wrestlers, we are athletes first, actors second. A lot of people that get into this, 90% of these are athletes first, actors second. I was an actor first and an athlete second. Like, it naturally came to me a little better. I'm a good athlete, always have been, but I'm a much better actor. And so whenever you know, they, like you said, it's you amped up to 11.
Yeah.
I feel like that's perfect for people who are athletes first, actors second.
Yeah.
Versus being able to take over a new character of actors first,
and that's
athletes
true.
second.
Yeah.
And so there is no wrong answer. So if you turned up to 11, perfect.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're doing it right. If you are portraying a character that's not you at all, then that's fine too, as long as it's believable. As long as I can feel it in my bones that you are a crazy Bam Bam Malone, like, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, and like, I know a lot of like older, a lot of vets do not actually agree with that. It's you turned up to 11. I've met a lot of older ones that don't agree with that. And I thought that was weird because I thought that was an older mentality. But again, it's opinionated.
Yeah,
it's opinionated.
Dude, there's more than one way to skin the cat. Like, I had an analogy put to me one time. Everybody loves ice cream, right? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Vanilla.
Okay. Well, hey, dude, there's nothing wrong with vanilla. I like cookie and cream, right? So we both like ice cream. But we just like different flavors. Yeah. It's the same thing in wrestling, dude. There's different flavors of ice cream for everyone. And like you said earlier, there is no one right way. And if anybody tries to tell you this is the one right way, then cut that person out because they don't know.
There are multiple ways to do it.
Yeah.
Multiple ways to do it. And another thing that's really hindering. So another difference between, obviously, except for the money and the production value, between televised and indie promotions is that televised promotions, the writers, they will work with talent and they'll go back and forth and be like, yeah, no, maybe not this, and they'll build something that they can deliver. Indie promotions don't do that. I feel like nine times out of 10 when you're comparing promoters, they are obsessed with controlling and micromanaging, and it leads to a very sterile performance. It really does. And it's a lack of organic connection with the crowd because they're like, no, you need to deliver it this way. You need to do this. And I understand that you have a vision for your promotion. I have to respect that. But if this hasn't happened to me, but if I'm going to go somewhere and they want me to bring back out the Diamond Queen, no, I can't do that. She dead. Like, you getting crazy or nothing. And like with King of Sports, I know they're heavy into the stories, and so I was like, okay, how do you feel like I can fit in this? Because I'm crazy. And they gave me their vision, and so I'm like, okay, do you trust me? Yes, bet. Went out there, did my thing. They loved it.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, cool. Not a lot of promoters will do that. Not a lot of promoters will have that trust, especially if they've never met me before.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, the promoters are just way too controlling, and that's what leads to it just not feeling genuine. Because when you compare the unscripted nature of back in the day of Dusty Rhodes and Jake the Snake, like when you compare those to today's rehearsed deliveries, no, I just.
Well, I mean, dude, look at LA Knight. Oh God, what was his name when he was doing like the whole modeling thing?
No, I don't know.
Man, I can't remember. It was not getting over, and he was supposed to be like, he was doing like this male modeling situation, and like he had these other 2 male models that can't come out with them. And
oh, okay, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, dude, I can't remember what he went by, but I remember like seeing him backstage when I was doing extra work, and like he's pacing back and forth reading a script, and it didn't get over. But look at him now as LA Knight, and he's one of, if not the hottest thing in WWE, and it's because he's been able to be a little bit more of him, and you see more of what he did in like TNA, and it's almost like they took the handcuffs off and just let him do his thing. And when he wasn't so restricted, then dude, he's over. And that thing that is so over now, and it's so simple. He figured it out.
And again, not a lot of wrestlers can do that. These promotions, they put in a lot of money, so I understand.
And I get it too, yeah.
But when you get to a level like LA Knight, you got to give him control.
Yeah.
You got to let him do his thing. Like, give him his opportunity. And because that's something I would have to talk over anytime I go somewhere, because they're like, I don't know how I can fit crazy into this. I don't know how they're gonna like it. And I just tell them, just trust me.
Yeah.
Just trust me. Like, I swear it'll work. And if not, you don't have to book me again.
Yeah.
Hell, you don't even gotta pay me.
Yeah.
And it works. And so they're like, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're welcome. It's that easy. So that's a good thing for people who are up and coming wrestlers. Whenever you're thinking about promos, again, you have to get in the mind state of your character. Don't write out a full script, but hit the bullet points you need to. With a traditional promo, you say who you are, what promotion you're going to, the date, location, and why you're there. You hit those 5 points every time. To weave it in all together, to make it flow, that should be the hardest part, is figuring out which one you're going to say first.
Yeah.
The rest of it, insert your character into it.
Yeah.
Honestly, as a heel, it's so much easier because if you mess up, you can like chalk that up to your character and be like, I get so angry thinking about you idiots.
Yeah.
And so as a face, it's a lot harder. But again, you're starting out in this business. You need to work on your promos, study your character a little bit more, and focus more on points instead of an entire script. I promise you. It's like building your match.
And don't overthink it either, dude.
Yes.
Like, go over it a few times. And this is something that I was really bad at. Like when I first started, was like I would so overthink a promo, and it would end up being complete crap because I was so worried about stuttering, or I was so worried about stumbling over my words. And now, dude, like, just go out there and let it fly. And I mean, and that's something that takes time, right?
It does.
It takes time to get that comfort level. But when you finally do hit that point, like, dude, I'm not worried if I mess up. If I mess up, I'll just cover it.
Right.
And, and just like you said, hit those points, but don't sit there and overthink it, dude. Like, the more you overthink it, the less good it's going to be.
It's the same exact method you use for matches. KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
and I really wish a lot of guys, and like, this is something that I even want to do, more so here in TSW, is like, instead of spending 2 to 3 hours walking through a match, why don't we practice more of like our run-ins? Like, if we have an interruption to a match, like, dude, again, like, I keep saying extra talent work, but like, go to WWE and sit there and watch them do everything. And they don't walk through the entire match. They walk through their entrances. They walk through like basically the main moments. And that's why everything is always so crisp. That's like Braun Breaker just hit that huge spear this past Monday.
Oh my God, dude.
Like, dude, do you know how many times though they probably walked through that to make sure they had the right camera angles, and
so you got your
they were
footing, so he knew
yeah.
how fast he could go.
Yes, dude. And it's like, if we spend a little bit less time, if we didn't spend 3 hours putting together a 10 fucking minute match, then we could sit and talk about how, okay, let's walk through more of that stuff. We need to create more of those moments.
Let's talk about the moments.
Yeah, and like the match stuff will come, and same thing, hit your bullet points. Everybody, knows the basic psychology of wrestling. And, if you, I hope they do. But, if you do, and as long as you stick to somewhat in those guidelines, but also have a little gray area in there, and like, don't be afraid to think outside the box. Like, just don't overthink it, dude. And it's so much easier said than done. Like, really, it hasn't been until like the past like 2 years or so that I've been comfortable, doing exactly what I'm saying now. Like, just go out there and feel it. And, I don't have to call anything in the back. We can go out there, and because, you could call an entire match in the back, something gets screwed up, and then it's like, where do we go now?
That's why whenever I'm putting together something, I always just tell them, look, just tell me what move, like, just tell me this and that. The rest, we're going to do on our own. We're fine. It's fine. And that's how it should be. Because what are you going to do if you plan every single moment, and then you get in there, and they're like, hey, guess what? You got 5 minutes now. It's like,
yeah.
What? Or what if you get in there and you're at this peak where you're like, oh, yeah, they should be really into this, and they're dead silent.
Not. Yep.
It's like, you got to take the crowd into consideration, which is another thing that promoters don't always do. They try to force their stories. They try to force their narratives, and that loses the crowd as well.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody.
No.
But when you put your needs and desires above the people who pay to see you's needs and desires, that's where you lose it as well. And the modern talent today, they're not really given an opportunity to fail.
Yeah.
You got to stumble sometimes to get up to where you need to. You have to have a natural evolution. You have to fail. You can't do that on TV. That's what the indies are for.
Yeah.
Practice, not failing moves. Like, no, not that.
Yeah.
But like, you have to practice. You have to have those moments. You have to have those failures. You have to be able to listen to what the crowd wants. Mostly because the fans' reactions often get ignored, like Roman Reigns' early push.
It was so
versus Daniel
dude.
Bryan's rise.
Yeah.
Like, people wanted him more than Reigns. Like, obvious. Like, look at it now. Okay, you get it, but like, if you would have just kind of played it a little differently, I feel like the crowd would have been a little more into it.
Yeah.
Like, you can delay it a little bit. It's fine. Like, as I've always been told with these injuries, wrestling will always be here. And so people just get too excited. They're just like, I just really want to do this. And it's like,
just wait. Let it build.
Let it marinate.
Well, and even look at Cody last year at WrestleMania, or I guess 2 years ago now. Like, dude, I thought he was beating Roman. I really did. And he didn't.
Yep.
And then what did they do? Spend that whole entire next year building to that moment. And then when it finally happened, it meant so much more than it would have if they would have went ahead and dropped it on him at, I think, was that 40 or maybe 39? I don't remember. There's so many of them now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe I was showing Savannah, one of my favorite matches of all time is Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit from 20. And I was like, dude, this is 20 years ago. This is WrestleMania 20. We're on WrestleMania 41 now, right? Yeah, I was like, dude, this WrestleMania is legally old enough to drink now. Like, that's
don't say that.
It's insane to think about. But yeah, 21 years ago is when that happened.
And like, back then, wrestlers were just being wrestlers. And that was the beauty of it. That's what made people think this was so authentic. This is so believable. But today you just have superstars playing roles.
Well,
and they're not doing it that good.
And another thing too is these right here, dude.
Yep.
These changed everything. To where kayfabe isn't a thing anymore.
Which breaks my heart. That's my favorite thing.
And dude, you hear Triple H use the terms heel and face in a press conference. And it's just like, what?
I understand the excitement of breaking down the fourth wall to an extent, like with the cross promotions, but Again, I'm saying all this while I'm on a podcast talking about this shit.
I know.
But like, because it's something that needs to be addressed. And again, just because this is my opinion, I'm trying to be objective.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the social media and the cell phones now. I sound so old. Them cell phones nowadays make it like, you can't have kayfabe anymore.
No.
But that's what makes it beautiful when you meet that one wrestler that really plays into it, and you're like, ooh, chills.
And I mean, I don't want it to sound like I'm criticizing, WWE or Triple H. Obviously, they know what they're doing, and they're doing it on a very high level. So, but it's just a little disheartening, man. Like, you're taking away, like, dude, I remember being
like,
a kid.
I worked so hard to protect this.
Yes, and like, just not even myself. Like, I just think about, dude, like how, like I got into a fight in 4th grade on my football team because a kid told me wrestling was fake.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not. And we slugged it out right then and there.
Yeah.
And, like, I loved wrestling. I thought it was the realest thing in the world, you know? And it is real. It hurts.
Absolutely.
But, that magic, I feel like we're kind of taking that magic away from it. And, I don't know. However you feel about it. And I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because, it's happening. We're doing it right now. But,
yeah, I feel like that is another contributing factor to why wrestling's just not as good as it used to be. So I don't like being a Debbie Downer and only pointing out the problems. I like to try and point out solutions as well. So a solution, I feel like if you were to let talent have the freedom, like actually let them have the freedom with their promos, trust them, let them bullet point it over scripting, I feel like that would take a lot of the problems away. And it shows you just who's ready and who's not.
That's what I was just about to say, dude. That's going to weed out the ones who, like, just like you said, who are ready and who still need, a little bit more seasoning. But it'll definitely, if you think that you can go out there and cut a promo just with bullet points, or you think you can go out there and call a match on the fly, okay, go do it. Have fun. Let's see it. And we'll learn real quick if someone can and can't do it.
Every mistake is a lesson, too.
Yeah.
Every mistake is a lesson. If you go in overthinking, you mess up, and then you're like, I overthought it too much. I just got to keep it simple. You're not going to make that mistake again. Every mistake I've ever made, I didn't repeat it.
Yeah.
And also encouraging that in-ring improvisation and that character authenticity. I feel like encouraging that, too. It's one thing to control it to a point. I understand for safety concerns, but you got to improv it.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's like Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will. Nothing is perfect in wrestling.
Yeah.
So you need to have that ready-to-act mentality so you don't end up like a deer in a headlight situation.
And something that was told to me, too, and I've always, like, it really resonated with me was Chase Stevens told me, think, shoot, but work. How would you legit act if someone were to do that to you?
Yes.
Like, what would be your true reaction? Okay, do that. And it makes it so much more authentic. It makes it so less hokey. Like there's so much hokiness in wrestling, which, I mean, dude, haha, fun. Again, flavors of ice cream. But, if someone walks up and slaps you in the face, how are you going to react to that?
I'm going to jump on them.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to bite them.
Yeah, exactly. So do that, but work. Don't shoot, but work. But think, shoot, but work. And that really clicked with me. And like, so I've caught myself a lot of times, like, dude, just act how you naturally would if if something goes wrong in a match. If a spot gets blown.
Like anytime someone misses something on me, I'll Samoa Joe that shit. I'll just be like, you missed.
Yep.
And then they hit me, like actually hit me with it.
Yeah, jump on them, let them build back up, and they'll cut you right back down. Yeah, it's easy. Don't freak out. And because a lot of times the only people that know that it was a mistake are the two in the ring.
Yes.
Maybe the ref. The crowd doesn't know. I mean, unless it's blatantly obvious. But for the most part, even if it is blatantly obvious, it's not. They don't know.
And to like have that good improvisation methods, again, it all goes down to you have to believe your character. As soon as you hit that, as soon as you're in Gorilla, past the curtains, you are no longer your government name.
Nope.
You are the wrestler.
Yep.
And I did experience something that I hadn't experienced in a minute at KOS. So because I was thrown into, I was out there 4 times, 4 different segments. One of them I had to cut a promo. And improvisation, the champ, he cut me off. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, thank God, I didn't want to keep talking. And so, but I needed to talk because I needed to introduce myself to the crowd. And the way he cut me off, he said, "Shut up, witch." And he put his hand so close to my face. I messed up. I reverted to Diamond Queen thinking, and I just had this sour look on my face. When in reality, I wanted to lick his hand. It was so, I went, but I didn't because like I had that panic moment. And so it's like, and that's kind of what made me feel like, am I not into this that much? But no, it was just, honestly, it's just a fluke.
It just caught you off
I was
guard,
just too
dude.
nervous because I was too nervous because I was overthinking it.
Yep.
That's literally what happened because I'm like, I need to deliver what they need while being myself, and it just. But during the semi-main, the group I was out there with, my guy, he hit his head, and so he got put in a sharpshooter by the champ, and he tapped. He actually tapped because he hit his head just moments earlier, and he couldn't remember anything else, and so he's tapped. He's like, "Ref, I hit my head." So the ref called it, and me, Branch, and Big Red, we were on the outside because we were gonna jump. I was gonna get my elbow at the end.
Yeah,
we were gonna jump him. We're all looking at each other like. And they're looking at me, and I'm looking at them. Spider-Man moment.
Yep.
But then I'm like, shit, I'm the vet here for all of them. And so I'm just like, I literally just say, hey, chill. And then, I'm like, I'm going to doing champ shit. He understood. He stood up, got to his mark, and I'm like, all right, go.
Yeah.
And then they did. So it's like, I got to remember that I always forget that I'm the vet in the majority of these situations now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dang, I gotta be responsible.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I mean, like you said, to the crowd, nobody knew that there was a whoopsie in that because was that even supposed to be?
Ending.
And was that supposed to be the finish, the sharpshooter?
Absolutely not.
No, but homeboy knew that
it still worked.
Yeah, and exactly. And dude, if you're hurt, if you're hurt, go home. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like don't try to superhero.
Don't tough
stuff.
it out. Like no, honestly, if you get hurt and you tough it out. No, honestly, no one's going to care.
Yeah.
Really. Because they're going to be more upset at you for not taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Because
it is irresponsible. It's one thing with adrenalin. I understand if you don't feel it in the moment, it's a lot worse than it is.
Yeah.
But again, he knew that he was hurt. Minor, even if it was a minor concussion, does not matter. Yeah. You hit your head, you forgot everything, your eyes were hurting, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, just stop. And yeah, they probably cut out maybe like 6 more minutes of things with that. But again, nobody was mad at him. He was really upset with himself. But like, we all told him, like, no, you did the right thing. Yeah. Because again, the crowd didn't know. Yeah. We had an authentic reaction. And so again, he lost the way he lost. He was supposed to lose. Yeah. And so with all that, it's like, it's the perfect storm in the situation you're in. And so we had to explain to him, like, all that matters in that moment is your health and well-being. You ended it professionally. That's all we can ask. Yeah. And so like, Kiefer and Carrie, they were all like, no, that's great. That's great. And so if you're afraid of pissing off someone because you're injured and you can't finish, then honestly, screw that person. Yeah. They don't need to be in your circle. You don't need to be taking advice from them because either they've never had an injury or they're just not empathetic or they're just straight up masochistic. Yeah. Like,
I separated my shoulder, my left one, last April. Literally like opening sequence, dude. I took an arm drag, and that's all it did. Took an arm drag.
I remember. Yeah, you told me that.
Kind of came over on it funky, and I mean, we finished the match, but it was one of those things. As soon as I did it, I was like, ooh, okay. And when we locked up again, that's when I was like, hey, we got to go home now. So basically, we just pretty much, we found a way to get to the end. And with cutting, everything else out. So, we finished the match, but I didn't try to be dumb and tough it out with a separated shoulder the whole entire time. Like, I was like, okay, let me see. And as soon as we locked up, I was like, brother, I'm fucked. I can't. Nope. And so we figured it out, got to, and, the crowd might be like, oh, that was a short match. But that's it. They had no idea I was hurt. Nothing. Nobody knew besides the people in the back. And, exactly. I didn't try to tough it out and be Mr. Superman. And what does that get you, dude? Like,
it doesn't get you flowers.
no, congratulations. It doesn't get you more money. It doesn't get
No.
you more pay. It doesn't
Mm-mm.
like you. No, dude. Like, don't do that for an independent promotion. If this was WrestleMania and I separated my shoulder, you best believe I'm gonna figure out a way to finish that whole entire match. But
True.
But no, dude. Like, don't you gotta. And this is something that I'm trying to be better about with myself. It's just being smarter. Like, there is a thing known as a bump card. That's a real thing. And when that thing is full, you're done.
Yep.
So be a little more cautious with how big of bumps you take or how often you take those big bumps. Because eventually one day you may take the wrong bump and then there are no more bumps, So,
or you could take something you think is an easy bump and then something happens, like what happened with my damn elbow.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it just happens. Like, there was no way I was finishing that match.
Yeah.
Like, everyone thought it was like my shoulder too. So I'm just like, elbow.
Yeah.
But like, no, I remember the instant pain, the instant heat. I powdered out. I couldn't stay still because it was one of those pains where you have to keep moving. Like, you can't. And so I was just like, fuck. Ref comes down. I'm done. We needed to end it with her getting DQ'd. And so I set myself up to get hit with a chair. I protected my arm. I leaned away from it. Like, I was BBing my arm. And she read the situation. She's like, bet, I got you. And so she hit me with a chair and ended it the way we needed to. The only thing we missed was my damn comeback. That was it.
But still, you got where you needed to be.
We did. We finished the story that needed to be told with the situation that was given to us.
And that's the professional thing to do, Like, you could have just powdered out and went straight to the back, but...
I could have.
Yeah, but you understood, okay, like, all right, something's wrong here. I'm not going to be able to do the full thing. How can we still get that point across, And that's the professional thing to do anywhere. But, yeah, dude, don't...
And I'm really glad it was Morgan Mercy, who I was wrestling. And I'm really glad she read that situation as it was. Yeah. And I'm really glad she read the situation as it was, because I would have been heartbroken if she came over hella concerned. I would have been heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm really glad she kept it professional too. But as soon as we were in the back, she rode with me to the ER, and she felt like shit. And I'm like, dude, it was literally not even your fault. It was a freak accident. And so,
did you take a bump? How did it happen?
I ran at her, gave her a crossbody, and I watched that footage back so many times because I literally thought I dislocated my I literally thought I dislocated my elbow because I felt a shift, and I'm like, it had to have been that.
Yeah.
Because I've never had a dislocation before, and this was a new type of pain I never had. So I'm like, maybe it's that. So I was looking at the footage, and I'm like, this thing don't pop out at all. What the hell? So I figured out that the elbow that got fucked is the one that I normally wear. My gear has that long sleeve on with all the tassels. So what happened was, whenever I landed on the crossbody, while my body kept moving, the fabric made me stick to the mat, and that's what made it go and tear. And I'm just like, in all the damn situations, really, the gear's gonna get me?
Yeah.
And it can. So be smart about your gear. This new gear I had ain't got no sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I still wrestle in it, but like, I'm more aware. I trimmed off that shit.
Yeah.
I
don't blame you, dude. Yeah, no.
That was a mess. But again, situations you can't control. You do the best you can.
Yeah.
But I knew we were going to spend so much time on this topic of like how to make wrestling better, but unfortunately, you can't. No. You can't unless the reason why you're not going to think it gets better is because even if everyone starts working at it now, you're not going to see it unfold for a while. Yeah. It's not like everyone can just do a hard reset. Yeah. Stop and then start up again. You can't do that. And so I will say, when Triple H took over, that kind of happened. Yeah. It was a hard reset because a lot of things changed all at once. I don't care personally, but you heard a lot of complaints from the fans about that. Yeah. And so, and again, they don't understand.
But dude, you can't make everyone happy. Like,
no, you can't.
They're going to, like, I love wrestling fans, but Jesus, like, They are some of the most ungrateful, like
yeah, they can
most
be.
opinionated, and most of the time they've never done anything remotely athletic in their entire lives.
Those are the ones that piss me off.
But they're keyboard warriors on Facebook typing up paragraphs about how crappy Roman Reigns is, or and it's just I don't know, it's mind boggling. But hey, you know what? They pay money to come and see us and watch them, so they have an opinion too. But
yeah,
not everybody should voice their opinion.
Just enjoy the show. Shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't got nothing nice to say, then shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this isn't something you can fix overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I would like to see start being amplified. I feel like, if anything, I would like to see this on the indies more.
Yeah.
Of like people not overthinking the script and going with the nature of their character. But that's what happens when you get stuck in a cookie cutter character.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get stuck in that too. Because a lot of people are just going that generic route.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of people with crazy backstories and plots and stuff, and methods to the madness.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see a lot of that because everyone just wants to be the cool guy. Everyone just wants to be the cool chick.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets lost, because then it's like, okay, you generic as hell. How are you? You better have some fire promos. Oh, you don't, because you generic as hell? Man,
yeah.
Hate that for you, man.
Exactly. I agree.
But anyway, we're not going to talk your ear off anymore because we're at time again. And I want to thank everyone for listening to After the 3 Count with myself and Chase. Again, please give us a like. Please give us a follow on our YouTube and our socials. They will be linked down in the description box below. Please, please, please comment what you want us to talk about. Like, we will talk about it. And we really like these conversations. Okay, pause. Don't be inappropriate.
That kind of goes without saying, but unfortunately you have to say it.
I will call you out, and then I will not, talk about it.
Anyway. But we will call you out.
Now I'll call your mother. But thanks for listening to us, guys. And by the next time we're back in this studio, it'll be after WrestleMania and after TSW, and we will have so much stuff to talk about. And I really hope we can get a guest on there. I really hope that guy reaches out.
Okay.
And again, we take guests too. So yeah. But thanks again for listening, guys, and we will see you next time.
Peace.